did we get here? This is a question that so many of us have asked ourselves in recent years, prompted by concerns over misinformation, political turmoil, social fracture, and the ills of surveillance capitalism. The question for me that follows is, does it have to be this way? And that is where Ben Grosser, with his new exhibit, Software for Less, offers so much insight towards an answer. I'm Nabiha Syed, a media lawyer and the president of The Markup, a news organization that investigates how technology reshapes society. We provide investigative journalism and create tools to help the public understand the moment we are in, which is the first step to imagining a better future. In my work, I often hear that regulation is the pathway to change for Silicon Valley. What I appreciate about Grosser's work is that he goes far deeper than that type of analysis. His investigations interrogate the incentives, truly the bedrock design at the very heart of Silicon Valley companies. He challenges the values instilled at the core, which is the only way to meaningfully investigate what technology is doing to us. And he does so in an unexpected way. In this exhibit, by presenting products that could have come out of an alternative Silicon Valley. One beautiful example of this approach is Minus, a social network where users only get 100 posts for life. Forget the visible like count or infinite scrolls, feeding the algorithm beast. The operating principle here is scarcity. There is but one dwindling metric, revealing how few opportunities one has left. That's the opposite of the deluge we easily get swept up in social media, within an architecture that asks you to feed the beast more. How thoughtfully might you post when you only have so few opportunities? How might this resonate with or reshape our lived experiences online when time is so limited and truly so scarce? How might this encourage less superficial sharing because we only have so much time left? And what might we gain by moving from quantity to scarcity? Grosser investigates these core questions that make us interrogate what we have in reality. Another favorite of mine from the exhibit also builds on the theme of exploring scarcity. In Deficit for Less, Grosser animates Mark Zuckerberg into an alternate reality, mining 15 years of the CEO's speeches for every time he said the word less, summing only 60 seconds in total. Grosser slows down Zuckerberg's speech to 50 times its original length, an uncomfortable distortion of reality, forcing us to ponder what the world could have looked like if Facebook was organized around slow and less, rather than fast and more. We have to ask ourselves, what are the other values encoded into these platforms? Do they serve us? You could say Grosser's work is focused on the ills that flow from growth, because an obsession with growth is really an obsession with profit, with data, with locking users into a cycle of providing both. But I think his investigation goes a level deeper, really. It reveals the mindset that allows us to achieve growth at all costs. And that is the optimization mindset. The optimization mindset is ever present in Silicon Valley, unsurprising for a place ruled by so many engineers and technologists. This is an observation made by the philosopher Rob Reich. Once optimization transcends technical problems, once it becomes a worldview, we have to ask ourselves, what are we optimizing for? What do we leave behind when we optimize for some values over others? And through the art of contrast, Grosser engages this philosophical idea and reveals to us what happens when we optimize for likes, for screen time, for financial gain. We live in a world where we bear the consequences of those choices. And in doing so, we realize that, contrary to the optimization mindset, not everything that is measurable is meaningful. In fact, picking the wrong measures actively obscures and devalues what is meaningful. We also have to interrogate who is doing the optimizing, who has a seat at the table to articulate what values matter. This is particularly devastating when you think of how notoriously unrepresentative and undiverse Silicon Valley is in terms of its inclusion, but how global its reach can be. This is the type of investigative work that we so rarely see in the world. It's far more than investigating what is, it's seeing the why and the how behind the what. That's what you see in this exhibit. Grosser's work excavates the forces that led us here and how they are the result of choices made for us. So this presents us with a call to action. For the future we want, what should we be optimizing for? Grosser presents a vision of what it could look like to optimize for what is precious, time and true connection. I wonder what it would look like to optimize our systems for values like fairness, justice, or liberation. What Software for Less reveals to us is that these questions lead to concrete choices that we can make, to technology that could serve us or at least not trap us into a digital hellscape. The future is not inevitable, but it can only be changed after we lay bare the choices that got us here. And that's what this exhibit, Software for Less, investigates ruthlessly. Thank you to Ben Grosser, the Arabyte Gallery, and this fantastic exhibit for presenting it here.